Welcome to Art Lectio, a space where the enjoyment of art is restored to its original purpose, contemplation that leads to transformation. Today we are reflecting on Ophelia by John Everett Millais. A young woman floats upon the surface of a darkened river, her delicate hands open in a gesture of surrender, and the water cradles her, but soon it will pull her under. Her face is pale, luminous, lips slightly parted as though still whispering the fragments of a song. She is surrounded by wildflowers strewn upon the current, each petal, each leaf rendered with exquisite precision. The greens of the riverbank stretch upwards, forming a sheltered arch of tangled branches and drooping foliage, yet none of it reaches down to save her. This riverbank is alive with wildflowers and tangled branches, rendered with exquisite precision. Every bloom carries meaning: poppies for death, violet for faithfulness, daisies for innocence, forget-me-nots pleading remembrance. The overgrown foliage frames Ophelia, yet does not reach to save her. The water reflects shifting light, hinting at the unseen forces pulling her into silence. It is a scene of paradox, beauty in tragedy, stillness in motion, surrender in sorrow. Ophelia's story in Hamlet is one of sorrow and descent. Her mind, fractured by grief and betrayal, lends her to this river. Madness overtakes her, yet in her final moments she is singing, lost to the world but seemingly unafraid. There is something deeply human in this portrayal. How often do we feel like we are sinking, overwhelmed, unseen, helpless against the currents of life? The psalmist cries out, "Save me, O God, for the waters have come up to my neck. I sink in the miry depths where there is no foothold. I have come into the deep waters, the floods engulf me." But there is a difference between Ophelia's story and the story that the psalmist tells. Ophelia has no one to lift her from the waters. She drifts alone. But the psalmist calls out to a God who hears, a God who reaches down into the flood and says, "You are not abandoned." Millais' Ophelia reminds us of our own fragile place in this world. Loss, suffering, and despair are real, but they do not have the final word. Christ himself entered the deep waters of sorrow, and in him we find that even the darkest depths cannot separate us from his hand. Lord, when the waters rise and I feel lost, remind me that you are near. When sorrow weighs heavy, be the hand that lifts me from despair. You see me, you hold me, and you do not let go. Teach me to trust you even in the currents I do not understand. Amen. I invite you to take a moment to simply be. Let go of the need to struggle or swim. Picture yourself resting, but in the hands of God, upheld by his grace. And let the words of Psalm 46:10 settle over you. Be still and know that I am God. When you rest in God, he will not let you sink. When do you feel like you are treading water in your life right now? When do you feel unseen or unheard? Today, I will choose not to carry my burdens alone. I will allow myself to be seen, to be held, to call upon the one who lifts me up from the deep. Perhaps I will reach out to someone who might be silently struggling, reminding them that they are not forgotten. Perhaps I'll spend a moment in nature reflecting on how creation continues in beauty despite sorrow. Even in the deepest waters, grace flows still. Thank you for joining me for today's daily reflection. Consider joining me tomorrow morning to start your day well. Tap the bell icon to be notified, or if you can't wait, you can watch the clip on your screen for more inspiration.